studio microphone, podcast script, markets, polymaths, and the myth of meritocracy. Intro, midnight to 1:30. Welcome back to the show. Today we're weaving together three powerful stories. First, the speculation around Traeger Incorporated, ticker Cook, and whether it's a candidate for a short squeeze. Second, the rise of paperless polymaths, people who master multiple skill sets but lack formal credentials. And finally, the bigger picture, the false meritocracy of the United States, where privilege often outweighs raw ability. Let's dive in. Segment 1. Ticker Cook and short squeeze speculation, 1:30 to 7 o'clock. Traeger Incorporated, ticker Cook, has been under the spotlight in late 2025. Short interest rose nearly 49% in a single month, hitting about 1.65 million shares. That's roughly 1.4% of the float, with 3 days to cover. On forums like StockTwits and Reddit, traders debated whether this could spark a squeeze. Some hyped the potential. Cook's short interest jumped almost 50% in a month. If the stock pops, shorts will scramble. Others were skeptical. 1.4% of float shorted isn't enough. This isn't GME 2.0. The reality? Cook's numbers are modest compared to historic squeezes like GameStop or AMC, which had 20 to 40% of float shorted. For now, Cook remains more of a speculative discussion than a true squeeze candidate. Takeaway: traders should monitor short interest trends and borrow rates, but avoid hype-driven speculation. Fundamentals still matter. Segment 2. Paperless polymaths, 7 to 1300 hours. Now let's shift gears. A paperless polymath is someone who masters multiple skill sets: coding, trading, design, marketing, but lacks formal credentials like degrees or certifications. The challenge: credential bias. Employers and institutions often filter out candidates without the right pedigree. Growing up poor compounds this, limiting access to elite networks and recognition. Online communities echo this frustration. I can outtrade most hedge fund analysts, but without a degree, I'm invisible. I've mastered coding, design, and marketing, but HR filters me out before I even get an interview. So how do polymath break through? Transparent contests, trading competitions, hackathons, esports, entrepreneurship, building businesses or platforms that bypass gatekeepers, content creation, podcasting, YouTube, TikTok, spaces where skill compounds into influence. Takeaway: polymaths must showcase their skills in arenas where performance is undeniable, while institutions need to reform hiring systems to recognize ability beyond degrees. Segment 3. The false meritocracy of the United States, 13 to 2000 hours. Finally, the bigger picture. The U.S. often promotes itself as a meritocracy, where talent and effort determine success. But in practice, systemic barriers distort outcomes. Problems include credential gatekeeping. Degrees overshadow raw skill. Wealth compounding. Privilege accelerates opportunity. Poverty compounds disadvantage. Network bias. Access to elite schools and circles matters more than ability. Perception trap. Society equates poverty with lack of skill. Fixes require systemic change. Policy reform. Incentivize skills-first hiring. Narrative shift. Highlight stories of polymaths who succeed without traditional credentials. Transparent benchmarking. Standardized skill tests open to all. Access equity. Scholarships, mentorship pipelines, and open competitions. Takeaway: to dismantle the false meritocracy, recognition must shift from pedigree to performance. Transparent ladders and decentralized validation systems can help level the playing field. Outro plus call to action, 20 to 21:30. So today we've seen three interconnected stories. Cook's short squeeze speculation shows how hype and mechanics collide in markets. Paperless polymaths highlight the struggle of elite skill without credentials. And the false meritocracy reveals the systemic bias that keeps talent hidden. The common thread? Recognition. Whether in markets, careers, or society, true merit often hides behind barriers. Breaking through requires transparent contests, entrepreneurial ladders, and systemic reform. Thanks for listening. And before you go, check the show notes and subscribe to our Substack and Patreon for early and detailed reports on what comes out in our show content. Plus, Feel free to shop the brands that make this show possible by checking out the sponsored snack section.